Jimmy, here's a little something I came up with on the ride here. Brothers, what we do in life echoes for eternity. And I'm not doing shit. I'm not funny. You guys know that game? I'm not a good entertainer. Shit. I suck at spellcasting. Want to learn to levitate something? Check this out. Everyone makes fun of me. Slashing damage. Including the animals. Spell that I get.
Hey, I'm trying to sleep. Keep it down, tree hugger.
You're the one hugging trees all day. Even the 9 hells doesn't want me, Jimmy. Sir, I'm here for the warlock tryouts. I want to find a patron so I can gain some cool magical powers.
You shall not pass.
The only friend I've got is you. And you only like me because I clean up your crap and feed you. There was that one god that one time that wouldn't leave me the hell alone. Don't you dare say his name.
All the way down to
Yeah.
40 meter, and that was a little
I'll take
bit
one of those.
She didn't end up showing up and told me it's because her cat died or something.
Most importantly, Jimmy, I'm a dumbass. There's really no class out there for a man like that. I can be a fighter! Welcome back for another class guide video. In fact, the last class guide in the pre-Baldur's Gate 3 series that I've been doing. Thank you so much to those of you who have been watching these videos. For each class guide takes around 20 hours per video. I'm on the final 12th one. It feels great, but it's also kind of sad. But I appreciate those of you who have been taking the time to watch my work. In today's video, we're going to go over a class that is a master of all weapons and armor, including ranged weapons, the fighter. Going to go over the fighter's general class features, what racial choices go well with the fighter's fighting style and abilities, and of course the fighter's martial archetypes, which will be your choice of a subclass. As always, keep in mind that we have not seen the final version of the fighter in Baldur's Gate 3 yet, so some things are subject to change. If you guys end up enjoying this video, please subscribe. There'll be much more Baldur's Gate 3 content on the way. Like I said, I've already done all of the other class guides, so head into the channel and check that out. And also, the Wolf Apparel merch store should be launching soon. I'm not sure if it'll be showing at the bottom of this video or not yet, but I got a lot of cool stuff coming out. Coffee mugs. I was supposed to have the coffee mug to show you guys, but apparently it's in the kitchen and I'm not going to redo this scene. Anyways, just kidding, I went and got it. Links to my Twitter and my Discord server will be below. Let's get right into it. Skull! Fighters possess immense knowledge of the skills of combat and have an unparalleled mastery of all weapons and armor. All fighters know the basics of all combat styles, but each fighter on their own will specialize in a particular style. Fighters can be great at archery, wielding powerful two-handed weapons, using magic to accompany their martial skills. The list goes on. Whichever path you choose, you will be well acquainted with staring death defiantly in the face. A fighter's broad general abilities and extensive specializations make them superior combatants on battlefields and dungeons alike. Holding down the front lines of battle regardless of your foes is second nature to a fighter. You might be a royal champion, a questing knight, a gladiator, or maybe a hardened mercenary. Whatever you are, you will certainly not be underestimated. A fighter's role in a party is oftentimes as the damage dealer, but they can also be great at protecting party members and taking damage for themselves. Let's talk about what ability scores you might want to invest into, and then what racial choices go well with this class. As a fighter, you will go one of two routes with your primary ability score. Generally, if you want to use heavier armor and heavier type weapons, you'll want strength to be your primary ability score. If you want to be more nimble with lighter weapons and armor, which includes ranged weapons, you'll likely want to focus on dexterity. Depending on which type of fighter you choose, the other ability score will likely be fairly low. Constitution is a very important ability score as a fighter, for it helps with your HP, and let's face it, as a fighter you're going to be taking a ton of hits in combat. For our third ability score, it's really more so up to you. Fighters looking to go the Eldritch Knight route, which is a fighter that has magic, you might want to invest a little into your intelligence score like wizards do, but you don't necessarily have to if you pre-plan what spells you're going to be mainly using. Charisma and wisdom are not that important, more of a role-playing choice. The most classic choice for a race to go with the fighter is the human. If the game offers the variant human, this will be a great choice, for you get a +1 to 2 ability scores of your choice, and you also get a choice of a feat. There's some great feats for this class. Towards the end of the video, I'll talk about feats, so make sure you stick around for that. Dwarves can be a great choice because they're tough and they give you a +2 to Constitution, and the subrace of the Mountain Dwarf also gives you a +2 to Strength. Dwarves also get great racial features, such as Dwarven Resilience, which helps with poison, and you also get Dark Vision. Half-orcs, although not 100% confirmed to be in the game, but it's probably safe to assume that they will be, give you a +2 to Strength and a +1 to Constitution. And they're a tough race like the dwarves and offer some nice racial features, such as Relentless Endurance, which can basically save you from a death blow. Now, if you're going the dexterity route with the fighter, wood elves as well as halflings give you a +2 to dexterity right out of the gate, so they can be great choices. Most races can work well with the fighter class, those are just some of the more obvious choices. To name a few more, the Dragonborn can be great fighters and they'll likely be in the game, or maybe the Aarakocra or the Goliath race, and more. Now let's talk about some of the general class features for the fighter, such as hit points and proficiencies, and then we'll get into fighting styles and your choice of a subclass. As a fighter, you'll have hit dice of 1d10, which is pretty good hit dice. This means that you'll start the game with a max of 10 HP, and from there on out, each level that you gain, you'll either roll one 10-sided die and add the results to your current HP, or if you use the fixed rate HP increase, you'll add 6 HP per level. Keep in mind that your Constitution modifier will be added to your base HP upon leveling. You will of course be proficient in all armor and shields, as well as simple and martial weapons, which means all weapons. Fighters have that base skill of being able to use and wield everything. You might even bring a couple weapons with you on your adventures. For saving throws, you'll have proficiency in strength saving throws, which can help you oppose a force that would physically move or bind you. And you also have saving throw proficiency in Constitution, which will help you endure a disease, poison, or other hazards that sap vitality. For skills, you would choose 2 from Acrobatics, Animal Handling, Athletics, History, Insight, Intimidation, Perception, and Survival. Let's take a look at the fighter's class chart to see what we gain as we level up. Max level in Baldur's Gate 3 will likely be around level 10, so we're going to stick to levels 1 through 10 for this video. Right away at class level 1 as a fighter, you get to choose a fighting style. With a fighting style, you adopt a particular style of fighting as your specialty. Your choices will include Archery, which gives you a +2 bonus to attack rolls you make with ranged weapons. Defense, which gives you a +1 to your armor class while wearing armor. Dueling, don't confuse with dual wielding, gives you a +2 to damage rolls when wielding a melee weapon in one hand and no other weapons. Great Weapon Fighting lets you reroll your damage die when you roll a 1 or a 2 when using a two-handed weapon or weapons with the versatile property. Protection is a fighting style that makes it so when a creature that you can see attacks a target other than you that is within 5 feet of you, you can use your reaction to impose disadvantage on the creature's attack roll. You must be using a shield to take advantage of this. And the last fighting style choice is 2-weapon fighting, which is basically dual wielding. With 2-weapon fighting, you can now add your ability modifier to the damage of the second attack. Typically, an ability modifier is not added to an offhand strike, now it is. So choose a fighting style that complements the type of fighter that you want to be, which usually means which type of weapon that you want to use most often. Back to the class chart, at level 1 you also get a feature called Second Wind. Second Wind is a self-healing ability, but instead of drawing upon magic to heal yourself, the fighter is able to pull from a limited well of stamina. On your turn, you can use a bonus action to regain hit points equal to 1d10 plus your fighter's level. This can only be used once per short or long rest. Now on to class level 2, where you gain the class-defining feature called Action Surge. Action Surge lets you take one additional action on your turn. Why is this so good? Well, let's take a look at the class chart again, and you'll notice that at class level 5 you gain a feature called Extra Attack. Extra Attack lets you use the attack action twice in one turn, meaning you can hit your enemy twice with your weapon's attack. So if you then combine Extra Attack with Action Surge, you get to attack twice and then 2 more times on top of that, hitting an enemy 4 times in one turn at class level 5. Also keep in mind that with Extra Attack, the number of attacks you get increases at class levels 11 and 20, and even though we won't be reaching level 20 on the launch of this game, likely ever, with Action Surge and Extra Attack together, you can actually hit your target 8 times in one turn at level 20 in D&D. The catch with Action Surge though is you can only use it once and then you have to take a short or long rest to be able to use it again, while Extra Attack can be used every turn. Now you don't have to use Action Surge with Extra Attack, but it's definitely a deadly combination. And now on to the most fun choice you get as a fighter, and that is your choice of a martial archetype, which is your subclass choice. I'm only going to go over the subclasses that are in the player's handbook, for Larian Studios has stated that they're trying to implement all of the subclasses from that source. The Champion subclass focuses on the development of raw physical power honed to deadly perfection. As a champion, you combine your rigorous training with physical excellence to deal devastating blows. Right upon choosing this subclass, you get a feature called Improved Critical, which allows your weapon attack to score a critical hit on a roll of 19 or 20. Your odds of getting a critical hit just went from 5% to a 10% chance. That's a pretty significant increase, especially in video games. At class level 7 as a champion, you become a remarkable athlete, which allows you to add half of your proficiency bonus, rounded up, to any strength, dexterity, or constitution check that you make that doesn't already use your proficiency bonus. Your proficiency bonus will be determined by your character's level as seen in the fighter's class chart. So basically your fighter becomes even more so above average when dealing with ability checks that fall into the strength, dexterity, or constitution abilities. And lastly, at class level 10, you get to choose an additional fighting style from the fighting style options that we talked about earlier. This subclass is really good at being that character that just goes in, is hard to kill, and deals a ton of damage without having to choose between a million different things each turn, which makes the champion a great choice for players who don't want to be overwhelmed with choices. The Battlemaster subclass is composed of fighters who have employed martial techniques passed down through generations. For this subclass, combat is an academic field. These are the fighters who have absorbed lessons of history, theory, and artistry when dealing with war and combat in general. These are well-rounded fighters with great skills and knowledge, and it's a very popular subclass. Right upon choosing this subclass, you gain Combat Superiority. Combat Superiority gives you a bunch of useful things, starting off with letting you learn a limited amount of what D&D calls maneuvers. There's 16 different maneuver options in the player's handbook, each of which offers you a unique addition to the fighter, an extra effect you can do on your turn, if you will. Maneuvers give you these tactical type moves and attacks rather than you just swinging away at everything. Some maneuver choices include trip attack, riposte, menacing attack, maneuvering attack, and more. To power these maneuvers, you'll get something called superiority dice, which are D8s. You'll have 4 superiority dice right away at class level 3, and then you'll gain more at class level 7. Once you run out of these dice, you'll have to finish a short or long rest to gain them back. To conduct a maneuver, you'll spend a superiority die, and the D8 that you use is usually added to your damage roll for most maneuvers. As you can see, this subclass already has a lot more to it in terms of choices and understanding things, which can be good for some players and bad for others. Also at class level 3 as a Battlemaster, you are a student of war, which gives you proficiency in one type of artisan tools. At class level 7, you get a feature called Know Your Enemy. What this basically does is allow you to observe or interact with another creature outside of combat, allowing you to learn that creature's stats, such as ability scores, armor class, and hit points. The Battlemaster really is all about being knowledgeable, and it can really give your party that head start in preparing for a fight. And at class level 10, you gain Improved Combat Superiority, which turns your superiority dice, which we use for our maneuvers, from D8s into D10s. Eldritch Knight combines the martial mastery common to all fighters with a careful study of magic. Basically, the subclass is for fighters looking to augment your martial prowess with the ability to cast spells. You will mostly choose spells from 2 of the 8 schools of magic, Abjuration and Evocation magic, which are great schools, and these spells will be from the wizard's spell list. Right away upon choosing this subclass, you'll gain spellcasting, and there's a chart to go along with this. An Eldritch Knight at class level 3 will know 2 cantrips, have 3 spells known, and have 2 level 1 spell slots available. At class level 10, you will know 3 cantrips, 7 spells known, and have 4 level 1 spell slots and 3 level 2 spell slots. All of the spells that you learn are known spells. You don't have to prepare them each day like some other classes do. If max level turns out to be level 10, then you won't be learning higher than level 2 spell slots with the fighter in the initial launch of this game, which sadly means no fireball. But who knows, maybe Larian will alter the mechanics or raise the max level. Intelligence is the spellcasting ability for these wizard spells, but like I said before, there's many great spells that don't use a spell save DC or spell attack modifier, so you can have a low intelligence and not really experience a negative effect from that. It's usually most beneficial to choose spells that are more defensive or support based, for it's going to be hard to outdamage your classic martial abilities that you can already do. But there are some great and cool spells to choose from, making this a subclass that is a lot of fun and very versatile. At class level 3, you also get Weapon Bond, which is a ritual spell that makes it much harder for you to be disarmed. At class level 7, you get War Magic. War Magic makes it so that when you use your action to cast a cantrip, you can make 1 weapon attack as a bonus action. And at class level 10 as an Eldritch Knight, you get Eldritch Strike, which lets you make a weapon attack that gives you disadvantage to a creature on their next saving throw against a spell you cast before the end of your next turn. So if you have a spell pre-planned that you want to use that requires the enemy to make a saving throw, you might want to first use Eldritch Strike and then on your next turn hit them with that spell. So those are the subclasses that we're expecting to see in the game at launch. But if Larian Studios decides to include other subclasses from other various D&D sources, we might see subclasses such as the Arcane Archer, or the Cavalier, or maybe even the Samurai. Alright, there's only a few more things to talk about on our journey to level 10. At class level 4, 6, and 8, you get an ability score improvement or your choice of a feat. Most classes only get the ability score improvement at class levels 4 and 8, but the fighter gets it also at class level 6. So not only can you really make your primary ability scores really high or even maxed out, but you can also take a feat or 2 without feeling like you're missing out on the ability score improvement too much. Like I said in the beginning, some feats can be really beneficial for the fighter, such as Great Weapon Master or Sharpshooter. If you're going to be using two-handed weapons, the Great Weapon Master feat will give you a +10 to damage at the cost of a -5 to an attack roll. And if you're going to be using ranged weapons with your fighter, the Sharpshooter feat will do basically the same thing except dealing with ranged weapons. This feat can be really good, and although you're risking the chance of missing your attack with the loss of the -5 on the attack roll, the damage that you gain when you do hit makes it worth it. And statistically speaking, this feat tends to help out much more than it hurts you. Not to mention the fighter can also do many attacks in one turn, and this can really add up and deal out an insane amount of damage. Also, if you're tactical with how you play your fighter, you can try and impose disadvantage on your opponent by knocking them prone, or maybe gain advantage by getting the high ground, and then that -5 to the attack roll isn't nearly as hindering. There's some other great feats that you can take as well for other weapons that you might want to wield. The polearm and crossbow both have their own great feats that you can take that allow you to take an extra attack as a bonus action when wielding those weapons. It's truly insane how many attacks a fighter can potentially do in one turn. So be on the lookout when you reach class levels 4, 6, and 8, and possibly think about taking a feat instead of the ability score improvement. Back to the class chart, the last thing we have to talk about is at class level 9. You gain a feature called Indomitable, which lets you re-roll a saving throw that you fail. This can only be used once per short or long rest until you reach level 13 and 17, which will likely not be in the game at launch. This feature helps you add even more toughness to this already tough class. The fighter can be a really great class to have in your party, and they offer a lot of versatility. The fighter can be great for beginners as well as advanced players, and a hell of a lot of fun to play. All right, that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'll definitely start a new series with their own types of intros, so the intros are not gone forever. And of course, when the game launches into early access as well as the official launch, I have to rework the class guides to make them official, and I'll do entirely new videos for all of the classes. So thanks so much for watching, guys. If you guys enjoyed the video, I gotta think of a new outro. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you guys enjoyed the video, please like, comment, and subscribe. I really appreciate it. It's a huge help to my videos. I do all sorts of content on this channel, ranging from comedy videos to live streams to game reviews to game tutorials and much more. And of course, I've done all the other class guides, so go check those out. Until next time.